So here we are. It's Tuesday night. Like I said at the start of this, normally I'd be doing this on a Monday. If you are listening on the audio experience on the replay, massively appreciate you listening on the replay. Come and join us live on a Monday night inside the Acts on This TV Facebook group and on the Acts on This TV Facebook page as well. It's facebook.com/Acts on This TV, facebook.com/groups/Acts on This TV. Get in the group, like the Facebook page, and then you'll never miss any of these broadcasts. So massive shout out to those people who are joining us live. We've got Wendy Walker in the house. She's got a meeting with a new agent on Thursday. Nice one, Wendy. Use that. Can you spill the beans? Or is it secret right now? Shout out to Caroline, shout out to Sharon, shout out to Matt. Thanks so much to everybody who is joining us live. It's the book club. Tonight we're going to be looking at a brand new book, the first book that we've looked at for 2019. Do you know what? I had a bit of trouble choosing the book tonight. I downloaded 3. I spent about 18 quid on Kindle, and I'm like, at least 12 quid of it was a waste. Because I'm like, in theory, that book's really, really good, but it's not a book club book. It's not a book that like I can read out to you guys and get you excited. There was a couple that I think you would read them on your own, and they would be, you've got to like absorb them. They're quite complex. They'd probably be very good. But they're not book club books. This one is. It's called The Universe Has Your Back by Gabrielle Bernstein. Check her out there. Those watching live can't really see that well. If I angle it that way, there you go. See her a bit better there, can't you? Subtitle is Transform Fear into Faith. You know I'm massive on fear. Not that, I'm massive on having fear. I don't like it. We've all got fears. But, I'm all about feeling that fear and doing it anyway. That's a great book we looked at in 2018. Susan Jeffers' book, Feel the Fear and Do It Anyway. I had a good conversation with Matt Hall, who's live on here today. Matt is in the number one Take That tribute act in the world. Rule the World, it's called. Doing very, very well. Talking about all kinds of fears around business, around acting. When he's focusing on the band, is he not focusing on his acting career? Is that a problem? Can you focus on both? Yes, you can, but can you do it at the same time? No, probably not. You can have both, just not at the same time. Everyone's got fears in and around their acting career, in and around their life. And this book looks at really embracing that. And again, just kind of giving people a kick up the ass to go, you know what? If you're feeling fear in many areas of your life, you're probably in the right place. Because if you were comfortable all the time and you were never feeling any kind of fear in your acting career or out of it, like, you ain't growing, are you? You're not getting better. You're not becoming a better person. So we're going to look at chapter 1 tonight. And then at the end of each chapter, it's got like a life lesson that it hopes that chapter's taught you. And the first one's pretty good, to be honest. I read it earlier. It's called You Have a Hidden Power. It's pretty long, so I might skip a couple of bits. But we'll get stuck in. I'm just going to check the comments if anyone else has said anything that's going down. When he says, I'll let you know if it pans out all right on your agent meeting. No, honestly, you know what? It's a great time of year to have a change. If you're looking for a change in representation, January is a brilliant time to do it. You know what? I feel fresh for this year. Just saying it, Matt, today, new office, new apartment, just new opportunities in my life. It feels good. There's something about 2019. Just feels all right. It's got a good energy about it. And I realised today as well, thanks for being here, by the way, it's 9 p.m. and I know there's some kind of vote going on for Brexit tonight. I avoid the news because it's pointless. I don't think we need to worry whether we're in or out of Europe in terms of us actors. I just think, like, in any situation, like, it's down to you to make sure you're all right. It's not down to these 200 mentalists in government who just don't seem to have a clue what they're doing to make sure that we're all right. It's down to you. It's your duty to make sure you're all right. And don't use anything that's going on in politics as an excuse for why, I can't have success because they're in power. I can't have success because they're doing that. It's bullshit. You can have as much success as you want as long as you put the grind in. That's just my personal opinion on it. Lucy's in the house. All right, Lucy and Lee, great to see you. And Caroline says she's always on TED Talks, isn't she? Yeah, Gabby does a lot of TED Talks. I've only seen like little clips of them. I've not seen a full thing, but she's all right. She's pretty good. I heard a great podcast she did with Lewis Howes recently when she was promoting this book. She's got quite an interesting story as well. And Wendy says it all came about from a conversation I had with Fraser at the last Acts on This meetup. Shout out to the Acts on This meetup. So that's the agent meeting, yeah? Those people who aren't aware of this, if you're new to the community, every Saturday, the first Saturday of every month it is. So every month, the first Saturday, we do a Manchester meetup and a London meetup. I host the Manchester one. Wendy and Mel host the London one. They're getting bigger. We have like a little competition now, don't we? Basically. Seeing who can get the most people down to each of the meetups. Wendy bribes people with cookies and stuff, though, so she's got the upper hand. I don't bake, so maybe I should get into baking, Wendy. We can like really go head to head. But yeah, get involved with that. You'll find the events, like the details for those, on the Acts on This Facebook page. So this chapter, it's from the book, The Universe Has Your Back, like I said. Gabrielle Bernstein, however you want to pronounce it. People just call her Gabby. But yeah, you have a hidden power, it starts off with. It says, when I was 16 years old, I struggled with depression. At the time, I didn't know why I was depressed, but my feelings of fear, anxiety, and sadness were undeniable. My depression was sneaky. It showed up out of nowhere and seemingly without reason. Unable to rid myself of this problem, I turned to my mother for guidance. My mum, a hippie, meditator and yogi, shared the tool she'd believed in, and that's meditation. She sat me down on a meditation pillow and said, this is the way out. My mother taught me her mantra. So, what did you say? So ham. She mean like cheesy, hammy? Or is that some sort of yogi thing I don't understand? So ham, it says. I don't get that bit. She suggested that I sit in meditation for at least 5 minutes a day to experience relief from depression. I was so stuck in sadness that I would have done whatever she said, and so I started my meditation practice. To my surprise, I instantly felt a sense of relief. This immediate gratification kept me coming back to my meditation pillow for more. Anyone here get on with meditation? I've tried Headspace. You know, the app Headspace, where you just do like a 5-minute meditation or a 10-minute meditation each day. You know, it's like dead. It's called Take 10 that it gets you into. You do it for 10 days, just a short meditation. I thought it was all right, but yeah, I find my meditation is kind of like exercise, to be honest, and running. So I'm interested to maybe explore traditional meditation a bit more this year, because maybe I've just not tried it out as much. But let me know what you're like. Oh, it's a chant, Caroline. Oh, where you go hum like that. Right, there you go. See, I failed at the first hurdle about meditation, so there you go. So is it? You know, you are right. It is. I think it is, because she repeats it in this chapter. So it says, within a minute of breathing and reciting the mantra. Oh, that's the mantra. So ham, so ham, so hum, so. Ah, I'm such a dick. I can't believe I didn't even know that. Right, thank you, Caroline, for sorting that out. So it says, out of nowhere, I felt a warm blanket of loving energy wrap around me. My extremities began to tingle and my anxiety and depression lifted. It was the greatest peace I'd ever experienced. I was in tune with a presence far greater than anything I'd ever known. I'd found my hidden power. I'm up for finding that, to be honest with you. I remember this experience as if it were yesterday. It was the moment I realised I had the power to connect to a loving force of energy far beyond my logical mind and physical sight. So I can relate to that a bit better now. Not during meditation, but I've definitely felt that through other stuff. It was the first time in my life that I felt truly safe. I walked out of the guest room and sat down the stairs to reunite with my boyfriend. My energy was lighter, my eyes were soft, and my spirit was rejuvenated. He looked at me and said, "What happened to you? You seem so clear." I replied, "Meditation." I was diligent about my meditation practice for several months, but once I was feeling better, this happens to us all this, I began to slack. It happens with people in the gym. They get overweight, they go to the gym, they start getting in shape, and then they go, "Oh, I've done it now, I'm just going to slack again." She said, I started to get hooked into the safety, power, and excitement of outer success and worldly forms of happiness. I turned to romantic relationships for safety and love. I turned to my career for a sense of accomplishment and satisfaction. And I turned to drugs to access that high I once found on my meditation pillow. Bloody hell, Gabby. I chose the outside world as my source of love and turned my back on the energy of the universe. So this might all sound a little bit out there, right? But at the end of this chapter, it all pulls together. Bear with me. Sharon said, I've done tapping once, Caroline, but would love to try it again. Is that another kind of out there yogi style thing? Check out the tapping solution, she says. Interesting. Tapping. Check out tapping solution. I love it. So effective. Look at all this stuff I'm learning. So through a series of wrong-minded decisions to seek my safety outside myself, I plummeted to a dark bottom. I found myself once again in a deep depression, but this time it was amplified by addiction and shame. Then one morning, as I sat on the floor of my apartment coming down from drugs and alcohol, bloody hell, Gabby, I called on that energetic connection I once had known. I turned to my mother's mantra and began to recite. Is that mantra again? So, it's me going, what do you mean, ham? So, we could all try that. As though no time had passed. I was instantly reunited with that feeling of love. It was as if an invisible angel wing picked me up off the floor and helped me step into a new way of living far beyond the fear I had chosen. Once again, I found my way out. I made a commitment on that day, a commitment to never turn my back on the true source of love ever again. For the past decade, I've been on a spiritual journey of strengthening my relationship to that love. This love I speak of is known to many as God, spirit, truth, or consciousness. In our modern day lexicon, many refer to it as the universe. Throughout this book, I'll use these words interchangeably. So it's not about religion and stuff like that. It's whatever it is for you. So I'm not particularly religious at all. But I definitely believe there's a higher energy out there. That there are things that have happened in my life that we'll discuss as we go through this, because there's examples in this chapter actually of things, synchronicities, things happening that I could never have figured out a way to make them happen. That they've just came into my life for whatever reason. So she says, my relationship to this energy is the most important thing in my life. Without it, I lose my power, my purpose, and my connection to love. Each day, I devote to tuning into this presence of love through prayer, meditation, mindful practices, and loving connection to myself and others. I take responsibility for the world I create by making love a habit, and I nurture the connection on a daily basis. That's why even after decades of being a spiritual student, I still have to lean toward love each and every day. This is a commitment that I've made for a lifetime, and the good news is that it gets much easier. Like any new habit, the more you practice it, the more fun it becomes. Today I have an awesome relationship to the universe, which in turn never lets me down. And this is the part of the book that I find fascinating, and that I want everyone here to kind of relate to, and also to put into life in terms of the acting industry, because to a certain extent, I was talking to Matt about this again today, there are definitely certain things that you can do in this industry to expedite your success. We talk about them all the time, but there are people in this industry that you cannot control, in terms of you can do everything within your power that you're like, you know what, this should all equal this, but it's not right now. And I think that's a bit like just the world and the universe. You've got to just put it out there and keep putting it out there, and just having faith that actually, you know what, the universe, the industry, eventually it's got your back. If you are persistent and you persevere and you work hard and you are patient, inevitably at some point, and that's the thing, I can't tell you when it's going to be, but at some point it's going to pay off. But you've just got to stay in there. So it says, universal lesson 1, our happiness, success, and safety can be measured by our genuine capacity to tune into the loving vibration of the universe. Sounds pretty hippie, but it's really just about having faith that actually, you know what, if I keep this up and I keep putting it out there and I keep working, something's going to pop for me at some point. The reason so many people feel unhappy, unsuccessful, and unsafe is they forgot their true happiness and success, where their true happiness, success, and safety lie. Remembering where your true power lies reunites you with the universe, so that you can truly enjoy the miracles of life, and most important, so your happiness can be an expression of joy that elevates the world. Joy is our birthright, Gabby reckons. What blocks our joy, though, is our separation from love and the universe. The way back to love begins with understanding how we disconnected in the first place. We all disconnect in our own unique way. In some way or another, we deny the love of the universe and choose the fear of the world. That's happening with everybody today on Facebook, because they are choosing the fear of Brexit and whatever shit's going on tonight. And then the amount of people right now who are choosing fear is just crazy. When I was setting this broadcast up, I went down my feed before, and the amount of people who just think they're politicians with absolutely no background in politics whatsoever is insane. Everyone's calling for everybody to be sacked. People are just shouting at each other. No one's listening. People who are Remainers and Leavers can't have any kind of congruent conversation that's actually civil. They just want to shout at each other, not listen to anyone's perspective, and just call each other names. And it's all bred on the fact that they're just choosing fear in the world right now. I don't have any of that in my life, because I've chosen not to even follow it, because I can't make any difference in it. I cannot really, in the grand scheme of things, have any bearing on negotiations around Brexit. I just can't. So I've spent the last 2 weeks hustling on my own business, my own career, my own happiness, my own life, and going, you know what, I'm not going to choose fear. But this is what people do when they disconnect, to the universe, to everything around them, all the good stuff. So yeah, people hook into the fears of the news, fears in our classrooms, the fears in our households. We separate from the love of the universe by giving purpose to pain and thinking power comes from outside sources. We deny the power of love and we save our faith for fear. We forget love altogether. The metaphysical text, this is something called A Course in Miracles, teaches the presence of fear. So the presence of fear is a sure sign you are trusting in your own strength. This is a profound message, and I remember gasping out loud when I first read it, says Gabby. Separating from love means that you deny the presence of a higher power, the presence of the universe, and learn to rely on your own power to feel safe. The moment you choose to disconnect from the loving presence of the universe, you lose sight of the safety, security, and clear guidance that is otherwise available to you. So I think ultimately it means about going, actually, you know what? I'm not all on my own. You know, I think that's what she's kind of getting at there. The minute you're like, actually, the only one I can rely on is myself and the whole world's against me, you're fucked. I think you've got to realise that actually, in the grand scheme of things, it's probably like, you know, there's a lot out there going in your favour. The moment you realign with love and stop relying on your own strength, clear direction will be presented. The presence of love will always cast out fear. It's definitely a bit of a hippie, isn't she? So it says, being in union with the energy of the universe is like an awesome dance where you trust your partner so much that you just surrender to the beat of the music. When you begin to dance with the energy of the universe, your life flows naturally, incredibly, and incredible synchronicity presents itself. This is what I want to know, some examples from people where this happened, right? This is a little bit hippie, this, but to bring it back to just like real stuff, for me, there's definitely been natural and often incredible synchronicity presented itself in my life where I've thought of somebody that I've not spoken to in a while and I've received a text from them that same day. That's happened. Sometimes I've been focusing on, you know, I can just sense that, this is mental, I know, but I can just sense there's an audition coming and it's happened. I focus on meeting someone. I told you that story last year about Steve Bartlett, that guy that I wanted to meet. Didn't know how I was going to meet him. I just knew I had to meet this guy. And I ended up in a voiceover session with someone he worked with who put us in touch. And then that, you know, that's how we met. There's just lots of like examples of where synchronicity has presented itself in my life over the last couple of years. Here's an example Gabby used. It says, my friend Carla is a great example of what happens when you realign with the presence of the universe. Carla grew up in a family that rewarded outside success above all else and believed that one should do whatever it takes to achieve. There's a lot of families out there like that, pressure on the kids who are just, you know, entirely focused on getting the kids' grades, you know, being the best, keeping up with the Joneses. There's a lot of that. I saw a lot of that when I was growing up as a kid. Went to a private school for the first few years of my life. There's an awful lot of competitive stuff where like outside grades and stuff were just like, you know, that was success, nothing else. They were all miserable, massively unhappy. But yeah, as a result, she had a deep-rooted belief that relentless striving, stress, and struggle equaled success. She spent a decade building a high-powered career through a lot of pushing, controlling, and manipulating of outcomes. She believed that the harder she pushed, the more successful, happy, and safe she'd be. Her hard-driving energy led to her to create a career that was very impressive outwardly. Then one day at the top of her game, Carla had a nervous breakdown and everything fell apart. She was rushed to the emergency room and was forced to go on disability to recover. The world as she knew it was over. In the midst of her recovery, something happened to Carla that changed her life forever. One morning, she woke up and lay still in her bed. In that stillness, she remembered a prayer that her grandmother had taught her as a child. It was the prayer of St. Francis of Assisi. Now, again, I'm not religious, right? But I'll read this anyway because I think, well, you don't have to be religious. It's nothing to do with God. This is just how you should maybe show up when other stuff's presenting itself. So it says, Lord, make me an instrument of thy peace. That's where there is hatred. That where there is hatred, I may bring love. That where there is wrong, I may bring the spirit of forgiveness. That where there is discord, I may bring harmony. That when there is error, I may bring truth. That where there is despair, I may bring hope. That where there are shadows, I may bring light. That where there is sadness, I may bring joy. Lord, grant that I may seek rather to comfort than to be comforted, to understand than to be understood, to love than to be loved. For it is by self-forgetting that one finds. It is by forgiving that one is forgiven. It is by dying that one awakens to eternal life. I don't want to die yet. I'm not interested in that last one, Gabby, at all. For whatever reason, right? Says she felt guided to say this prayer out loud. Then she got out of bed and went on with her day. Although the day started off normal, as the hours went on, things got wild. She sat down at her computer and an email popped up on her screen. The email was a link to a blog that I had written. This is how she met her, obviously. It was forwarded to her from a friend she hadn't spoken to in years. The subject line was "Success is an inside job." The subject got Carla's attention. She opened the email and clicked through to a video blog on my website where I was offering tips for accessing success through spiritual practices. Carla still had no clue why she'd received this email, who I was, or even why she'd clicked through to my site. All she knew was that an undeniable voice within her was yelling, "Watch this video." Carla watched the video and felt as though I was speaking directly to her. The next day, she was in a bookstore looking for a novel when out of the blue, a non-fiction book landed on the floor in front of her. It was my book. May Cause Miracles, it's called. She recognised my face on the cover and laughed at the synchronicity. She couldn't deny this moment, so she bought the book and immediately began this 40-day practice that she does. 30 days into the practice, Carla was cruising Facebook when a post from me popped up on her screen. The post stated that I was coming to her city to speak in 2 weeks. Carla bought a ticket instantly. Carla attended the event and she sat quietly in her seat when it came to the Q&A. She'd no interest in being seen or heard, especially this self-help stuff that was so new to her. Then I asked who in the rooms completed this 40-day practice. In that moment, she raised a hand. It was her 40th day. Involuntarily, her hand rose up in the air, at which point I invited her to stand and share her experience. Carla began to share how she had no idea how that original email made its way to her inbox, or how the book fell off the shelf, or how the Facebook ad landed on her screen 10 days before I arrived in her town. I could probably tell you how the Facebook thing happened, but I can't say how the other stuff happened. She'd been guided to make new choices. She announced to a room full of strangers that she was quitting a high-stress job and going back to school to study nutrition, a subject she'd always longed to learn. She said, 40 days ago, I was deeply depressed, and today, I know, as you say, that the universe has my back. Carla's story reminds us that when we surrender to the power of the universe, we'll always be guided to exactly what we need. The moment she said the St. Francis prayer was the moment she stopped relying on her own strength and unconsciously asked the universe for help. Synchronicity, guidance, healing, and abundance are available to us all the time. All we need to do is tune into the energy of the universe so that we can get into the flow with a supportive, loving energy. When we're in alignment with this energy, life becomes a happy dream. So that's the first part of that book. It's a long-winded way of saying, like I said, all right, Inez. Inez is it. Inez is sort of showreel scene today. Great showreel scene. I think it's a bit of a long-winded way of saying that, like, I think sometimes you can resist stuff, like you focus so much on what you're afraid of and what you're fearful of that you actually end up pushing away the shit that you want because you're focusing so much on all the stuff that can go wrong. You don't really see the opportunities in front of you for the stuff that can go right. And when you actually just surrender to go, you know what? This is all going to figure itself out. Because I bet you can't tell me a time in your life where it hasn't figured itself out. And we've all been through loads of shit. I know everyone on here has been through stuff going on. People listening to this will have been through loads of stuff as well. But there's probably never been a time where it hasn't actually, because you're still here, you're still with us, you're still alive. It's not killed you. It's always ended up okay, even if it's been really painful for weeks, months, couple of years, whatever, maybe decades. But, you know, hopefully you've absorbed it, you've got through it, and things are all right now. And I think sometimes, like, the industry's like that. It can seem like everything's going wrong. You're not getting any auditions. It's happened to me plenty of times in my life. You're not getting any auditions. You know, nothing's popping. You've got nothing decent for your show reel. No one's getting back to you. No one's answering emails. And you end up focusing on everything. It's wrong, it's wrong, it's wrong, it's wrong, it's wrong. You lose all your motivation. You don't want to write anymore. You don't want to get out of bed. You're like, right, everyone else is working because I'm looking at social media. Everyone else is working, but I'm not. And then what can happen? Well, I mean, at that point, you're like, you know, you're conspiring against yourself. Like, you know, you ain't going to really have anything. Or what's happened a couple of times is something has happened completely out of the blue that's changed it all around for me. An opportunity has arisen that's just one opportunity can just change it all around and put you back in the game. And I've got friends who this has happened to who have literally quit acting and have been dragged back into it. Chrissy Bone quit acting. She went, it's just not for me. So Chrissy was a girl I went to drama school with. She ended up working in the NHS. A week after leaving, when she'd surrendered in terms of going, right, you know what, I'm just going to leave it now. I'm out of this industry. I'm going to stop trying. And it's at that point maybe where she did, the universe went, right, okay, let me get on with it now. A week later, her old agent, who she'd left, phoned her, Laura, this girl I know. She said, listen, this is like, I know you're out of the game, like, and this is, a bit of an ask, but I've just had this brief through from Jenny Radcliffe at Coronation Street for this new actress, a regular character going into it. And it sounds exactly like you. I know you're not acting anymore, but would you mind if I just put you in for it? And Chrissy actually said, listen, I don't have the train fare to come up. And honestly, I'm done. I'm not really interested anymore. I'm just, I've made my decision. I'm working for the NHS and that's me done. Put the phone down. It was like the universe wasn't going to accept that. Laura was like, I can't get this out of my head. Right, you know what? It rings about, Chrissy, I'm going to pay for your train ticket. You have to come to this. And then at that point, Chrissy's like, right, I'm being dragged into it again. And then, cut long story short, she comes up. She auditions against 30 other actresses, so chances are slim, But she ends up getting the role of Jenna on Coronation Street. She did that for 2.5 years, changed her life, bought her a house, and now she's back to acting full-time in lots of other stuff. She does a lot of really great theatre, other TV jobs. It was like she just surrendered and went, right, I'm going to just stop resisting all this stuff and focusing on all the negative stuff and complaining and writing posts on Facebook about everything going wrong for me. And I'm just going to let the universe get on with it. I'm going to connect to whatever this higher energy, whatever it is. And it just dragged her back in. And she's not the only one I've seen that happen to. I've seen it happen to, a good 3-4 people where it's been life-changing. Rob Collier happened to, life-changing. Obviously, he got Downton Abbey. But quite a few other people. Asan Jai, who you will have heard me interview on actsonthis.tv recently, he had the same thing. Let me bring a web browser up here. On actsonthis.tv, it's this guy here in the middle. There, how to call, what have I titled that one? Discover the keys to a winner's mindset with Emmerdale's Asan Jai. He told me a story where he phoned his agent. So we did Casualty together. He'd done a few other things as well, but he phoned his agent. He's got a really good agent as well. Massive, one of the big London 6 agents. London 6, one of the big 6 London agents. And he said, I think his name's Ollie. He said, Ollie, I'm out. I'm done. I need a break. I'm on the verge of a breakdown. This is just not happening for me. Can't do this anymore. And that's not what an agent wants to hear from you. But Asan had been through a really difficult time where literally he was going down to London for auditions. He's from the north, Asan, and he was hiding in toilets on the train. He couldn't afford his train fare out of London, and this guard's knocking on the toilet door, and he's like, "Mate, just go away!" Like, I'm trying to learn my lines. He tells a story in this podcast where he went into a shop, and he really wanted a fish, and he was like, he had £6. What did he have? £6.50 in his bank. £6.50 in his bank. And he was just starving. He wanted this fish. He went, mate, how much is that fish? He went, £6. And he sat and he said, I was on a high. I was eating it. I was loving it. And then I got to the end of the meal and I was like, shit, I've got 50p, like, to my name. Like, I give up, like, surrender, I'm done. And then it was something crazy. Like 2 weeks after that, he landed the regular role of Ellis Chapman in Emmerdale. He ain't worrying about a £6 fish anymore. Phil Barantini, the guy you see on the left there, sorry for those on the audio experience, I'm showing the homepage of actsonthis.tv. He had massive success early on in his life. That's a podcast I put up yesterday. Huge success early on in his life. He was in Steven Spielberg's Band of Brothers. He went on to do Ned Kelly with Orlando Bloom and Heath Ledger. Got into massive alcohol addiction and substance abuse for about a decade. Should have ruined his career, basically. And it did for a long, long time. It nearly took a lot of his life away from him. Again, just surrendered, went, right, you know what, I'm just going to stop trying so hard and just going to start actually, just focusing on what I want as opposed to all the problems in my life. And it's got dragged back into the industry, like as if the universe has gone, no, you're not getting out. You're coming right back as a director now. And becoming a really, really successful director. If you go to watch the last episode of my vlog on YouTube, you'll see us behind the scenes of his latest film he was doing with Stephen Graham. He's a massive actor, massive. Phil's going on to direct a feature film later this year that's really big. magic happens sometimes. It's just synchronicities happen when you just like, look, you know what? I just need a break and need some help. I'm going to stop focusing on everything that's wrong, and I'm just going to kind of like, keep putting positivity out there, keep working, and I'm just going to accept that I think the industry and the universe has got my back. If I just allow it to and I get out of my own way, I've just seen it happen for people. I'm hoping it's going to happen for me. I'm allowing it in. Sharon says, I'm grateful for all the things I've been through that's been tough because I've made it through and they've made me who I am today. Exactly. And you always get through. You always get through. Jill Myers in the house. Hope you're well, Jill. And good evening, David. Good to hear from you, mate. Oprah sings a song called I Surrender. Oh, does she? There you go. I surrender all. Apparently she sang this in a dark, low moment. Next thing she gets a call, and it's Steven Spielberg. Freaking hell, maybe we should all just surrender. I don't think it means give up. Although, like I say, Chrissy gave up and then just got called back in. I think I think sometimes you can just block yourself when you're burning yourself out. You feel nothing's working. You're repeating the same stuff and you're expecting a different result. Sometimes you need to go, right, everything I've been doing right now ain't working. Sending the same email out to the same people is not working. Sending the same reel out is not working. I'm going to stop. I'm going to take stock, step back, and just allow things to kind of happen a bit more naturally. It's interesting, isn't it? So it says, universal lesson. When we surrender our will to the power of the universe, we receive miracles. Kind of is interesting, isn't it? Because for me, I'm like, God, I've just got to be doing stuff all the time. But maybe I even need to chill out a bit. So there's another way to surrender to the power of the universe is to get clear about how the stories and beliefs, this is the most interesting part of this chapter actually, how the stories and beliefs we carry dictate our experiences. So there's a course called A Course in Miracles, right? And it teaches us that projection is perception. And let me explain in this chapter what that means. This means that whatever stories you're projecting in your mind are what you're perceiving in your life, right? Read that again. We've got to get clear on this. Whatever stories you are projecting in your own mind are what you're perceiving in your life. So a bit deeper, it says, I learned a beautiful metaphor for this principle from a great course teacher named Gary Renard. Imagine you're in a theatre, or a cinema as we'd say, watching a scary film. You're at that point in the movie when something really bad is about to happen. You know that if the leading character turns the corner, she'll walk into a life-threatening situation. Right? You're throwing popcorn at the screen and screaming, don't do it. You do this, don't you? Don't turn the corner. Gary suggests that we think of this as the way we live our own lives. We're watching the movie screen that is our life, and we're screaming, don't go back to that relationship. Don't take that awful job. Don't pick up that drink. But time and time again, we get stuck in the same horror scene. Our projection is our perception. Here's a powerful example of how an old fearful storyline, one I thought I'd healed, crept back in decades later. So this is in Gabby's own life. In high school, she says, I was never part of a clique. I had a lot of funky guy friends who played in bands and smoked pot in their parents' basements. I loved these guys, but I always felt like an outsider because I didn't have a group of girlfriends. This experience led me to design an internal storyline that I projected onto my life. My projection was that I was an outsider and I'd never have a group of girlfriends. This projection became my perception for many years. A lot of people in this industry have that, like they don't have a lot of success initially, and then they project like this perception of themselves as, oh, you know what, I'm the loser, or, I'm the guy who always comes second. You get that? I spoke to an actor the other day. He said, God, I've been so close at like 4 or 5 occasions of changing my life where I've been the other guy who hasn't got it. There's been 2 of us, and he's like, I just think that's where I'm always going to be. So I'm probably not going to be the leading actor ever. I'm just gonna probably play supporting things. And he's projecting that perception of himself now into his life, and until like he starts projecting that, he probably will only ever be second best. So Gabby says, look, this projection became a perception for many years. In my mid-20s, I started leading workshops and lectures for large groups of women. Over time, I had hundreds of women coming out to hang with me. The story began to heal, and I accepted that I was part of a power posse of like-minded women who shared my spirit junkie mentality. She's definitely a spirit junkie, isn't she? The way she writes this book. Just when I was certain I'd healed my old fear perception, I came to realise that I wasn't fully free from that story at all. The thing is, our fear stories are sneaky. They live in our psyches and our cells. They linger in our subconscious. Right when we think we're healed of the false projection, bam! Something simple can trigger us and send us right back to the old fear. At this point in my life, I had many girlfriends and felt secure in my connection. However, there was one friend in my crew with whom I never fully connected. She was always kind, but never particularly warm or authentic. Something about her personality triggered my old fear story. Each year, she invited all of us to a big party. A month before the invites typically went out. My fear story kicked in though. I started to think that I wouldn't be invited to the party. I mentioned it to my husband, my friends, and anyone who would listen. My inner dialogue was, the invites are going to go out, I won't be invited. Then just as I had expected, the email invites went out and I didn't get one. I was deeply saddened. All my teenage feelings of being left out bubbled to the surface. I was angry and upset. This led me into a tailspin. I went around telling my friends how upset I was that she didn't invite me to a party. I was an adult acting like a child. One morning, I woke up very depressed. The first thought that came to my mind was, I'm not good enough, I'm an outsider. Thankfully, I had enough spiritual awareness at that point in my life that I was able to witness the story and choose to see it differently. I said out loud to myself, thank you, universe, for helping me heal this. I forgive this thought and I choose to see love instead. Then I went on with my day. Late that afternoon, I had lunch with a friend and I mentioned to him that I hadn't been invited to the party. He laughed out loud and said, what, are you nuts? Of course you're invited. Just text her and see what happened. Because I said my prayer early that morning, I was humbled enough to hear his suggestion. An involuntary response came out of me. Okay, I'll text her. I picked up my phone and sent a message. Hey, how are you? I didn't receive the invite to your party. I hope everything's okay between us. Within seconds, she replied, what? Of course you're invited. I sent the email from a new account, so make sure to check your spam filters. I checked my spam filter, and of course, the invite was there. This story clearly outlines how our projection creates our perception. Because I was so caught up in the story that I was an outsider and not invited, I wasn't open to the possibility that the email could be in my spam box. This was such an obvious scenario considering all my emails get filtered these days, but because I was so stuck in the story, I cut off my connection to loving possibilities and had committed to fear. Energy flows where your attention goes. My focus and attention have been so negative that I cut off the possibility for love. Then the moment I said my prayer, I opened up my consciousness to receive new information. This was my way out of the fearful projection. The good news is that the way out of our fear projection is simple. Gary, the course teacher with a spot-on movie theatre metaphor, suggests that we consider what would happen if we just walked back into the projection room and changed the reel. What would happen if we changed our projection? What would we perceive? And that's the end of that chapter. But it's true. Like, you'll all be projecting a film in your own head about your life, the life that you live in. And I do this as well. Of course I do. I definitely experienced this at school, you know, where kind of like, I never felt, you know what? I was always kind of popular. I had loads of mates, but I never felt like cool. I know I'm not cool. Like, you know, I'm not like trendy and dead cool. But I kind of lived that. I think I kind of stepped back from situations like that as a kid. I just always felt like that. Like, oh, you know what? They're the cool kids. I'm kind of mates with them, but I'm not quite like up there. And that lived with me for such a long time. I think until I kind of like became an adult and went, actually, you know what? Like, I think it was probably in my early 20s, I went, like, I have the power to change all of this. I know I don't dress well these days because basically all I do is wear a black t-shirt and black jeans. But I was like, no, I've got the power to change. If I want to go out and buy cool clothes, I have a job now. I can change that perception of myself. Yeah, I am cool. I can't, you know, my entire life changed. But had I not like took control, and I'm certainly not saying I'm dead cool by any means, but I don't have that hang up that I used to have, like not in the slightest bit that I had when I was a kid, because I just changed without knowing this shit, to be honest, just fluked it. I just changed the movie that I was playing in my head. I was going, wait a minute, like right now you're just being a victim and you're saying this is how it should be. This is a scarcity fixed mindset. We know that. Like, you can change this. Your past does not equal your future. It's interesting. As Sharon says, that was me at school. I was such an outsider, last one to be picked for team sports. It's been that way all my life. You've got the power to change that movie. It's playing in your head, Sharon. Maybe you've allowed that to happen. Because I get it, when you're at school, you feel completely kind of helpless, really, and you are to a certain degree, like, completely at the mercy of your teachers and your parents. But those limiting beliefs from years ago can live with you, as we know, for a long, long time. It's interesting. What's this, Caroline? Isn't she a lesbian now? What are you talking about? I don't know what you're talking about here. Interesting. But yeah, all the cool kids I knew are all bald bums now, says Caroline. There you go. Do you know what? I don't like to kind of like, I don't like to bring any negativity around me at all, but you know what? Some kids at school that made my life like a bit of an issue, like a bit of a problem. There was a few bullies at my school, as there is in every school. Those kind of cool kids. Like I said, I was pretty lucky to be quite popular, so I didn't get a lot of it, but there was a couple who were just pricks. And isn't it funny, like 20 years down the line, when you leave school and you look at what they're doing compared to what you're doing? And I'm not one for like revenge or anything like that, but sometimes it's just freaking nice, isn't it, to go, good one. Good luck with that. Definitely wouldn't swap places with you. You thought you were well cool at school. You gave me shit for 5 years on a daily basis. Have a look at you now. You're not that cool now, are you? I don't like to dwell on that. I'm definitely not one for, for slating anybody. But yeah, sometimes there's something quite nice about karma in the universe, isn't there? And I think that's the universe at play as well. Genuinely. I'm like, you know what? Put shit out there, get shit back eventually. Put good out there into the world. Have faith that the universe has got your back. Actually, you know what? At some point, might not be instantly, at some point it's going to come back and it's going to repay you. That's just what I've experienced in my life. It's funny, isn't it? Amy Allen's in the house. All right, Amy. Just talking about pricks at school, Amy, you made your life a bit shit, and then actually when they grow up, how they're losers and don't really have anything going for them anymore. Quite nice. But we're not going to focus on that because I'm all about positivity. But yeah, interesting. Just managed to hop on. Look forward to catching up. She says, Amy, on the replay, bear with the beginning of the book. The beginning of the book's by Gabrielle Bernstein. It's really out there, and it's a bit like space agey and a bit like, just love, love, love. I'm a bit more practical than that. So you might be like, you might be turned off by the beginning of the book. It gets a lot better as it opens up. She becomes just like a bit more normal. What goes around comes around, says Wendy. It does, doesn't it? Honestly, it really, really does. And I saw that happen. Do you know what? I had a really interesting conversation with an agent recently. Do you know what? We both said this, right? We were both talking about what goes around comes around, just in general. And I said, do you know what? Sometimes, and again, I'm not one, I don't wish anything on anybody. I don't wish any negativity on anyone. I really mean that. I can say that and I can feel it when I say that. But there are some people who I've seen in this industry last year actually finally achieve some success, and I was rooting for them at the beginning. I could genuinely feel it when there was someone in particular who got a break, and I'd worked with them a lot before. We'd been trying. You know, I haven't got my break yet, but you know, this person got their break, and I was like, thank God, like you truly, truly deserve that. I feel nothing but joy for you, really. Because we would never be in competition with each other for a start, and I've seen you hustle. And it gives me faith in the universe that if I keep hustling, the same thing's going to happen for me at some point. And this person changed like that. I mean, like, I can't tell you how much they changed. They went from being what I thought was a friend. Like, we hung out, like, you know, not like friends, but in the industry friends. We hung out, we'd worked together, we'd shot scenes together. This person changed massively. I said, listen, will you do a podcast with me for the website? I said, because it'd be really interesting. This would be one of these real podcasts. You're not famous. You've been hustling for years, and now you've got a break on something massive. I just thought it'd inspire everyone, myself and all you lot and everybody to go, you know what, hang in there, keep going, keep going. Universe has got you back again. And the reply I got was like 3 words that basically was just like, nah, can't do it. What? Of course you can do it. You know, who, like, have you suddenly become? Like, no one's stopping you. You know, I've had BAFTA winners on, Oscar winners on, Emmy-nominated people on, the biggest casting directors in the industry on. No one's going to say, oh, don't do that, it's going to damage your career. This person was just not having any of it and really fought back against, like, you could tell they were making shit up to just say, you know, well, just tell me you don't want to do it if you don't want to do it. But they then signed with a really big agent, and it all went to their head. And then at the end of last year, it all went wrong. They were dropped from that agent. They'd had no more work since. And I just thought, wow, like, this is the universe teaching you a lesson. Because you'd instantly forgotten all those years of hustle that you put in, and you became entitled, instantly entitled. You say you were rewarded for all that work, and you just fucked it up. And now that person, it's really interesting because I didn't know this agent I was talking to would even have a clue who this person was. And they said, "Oh my God, does this person have I'm like, yeah. Are their initials, do they happen to be I was like, oh my God, you saw that as well. So it's not just me. Like, other people have seen it. And I think that's what's interesting about this industry. Like, your talent can take you places. I use this phrase a lot. Your talent can take you places your character won't keep you. You know, if your character can't keep you in that place your talent can get you, you won't be there very long. If you're talented but you're a dick, it will catch up on you. And I've seen it catch up on people very quickly, like in this instance. Sometimes I've seen people get away with it for years. There's a couple of people right now that I'm like, you're still getting away with it. But I'm certain, I have faith that it will catch up on them. But equally, I feel if you're putting good out there all the time, that's got to catch up on you as well at some point. It just has to. And it could be 8 years down the line, 9 years, 10 years down the line, but you've just got to hang in there and turn that fear, like this book's all about, into faith. Caroline says, totally agree. The mask slips. Yeah, done it. You know, they just let it slip a bit, and it fucks them up completely. Never forget where you've come from, says Sharon. Totally agree. And we're coining out the bald bum effect, Caroline's saying. But yeah, it's funny, isn't it? My wretched laptop has not been acting on this. What's going on, Ine? I said Ine again, it's Inez. I know it's Inez. And I just call you Ine again. I think for me, you're always going to be Inez. So yeah, interesting, isn't it? I know some of them. She says Amy. No, honestly, it's true. It's true. But yeah, you just got to, like, even when it's hard, that's when you've really got to, you know, put the effort into to carry on. You know, there's days. Do you know what? God, there's days at the moment. So every day I wake up and it's pitch black outside and it's freezing. I know I've got to walk a mile to the gym and work out at 7 o'clock. Well, I don't want to do it. I just don't want to do it. But I know that it's those decisions that will that make or break you in terms of going, right, you know what? I don't want to do this, but I do want the result. The result is investment in my health, a better body, looking better, feeling better, having more energy. Eventually, when I actually wake up and I'm in the gym. Having the connection of the people I work out with every morning, seeing them, that's nice. You know, I want that. So I've just got to go through this pain. And sometimes, yeah, you just got to go through this shit knowing that, you know, universe has got your back. It's all going to be good. So it's interesting, yeah. You just got to make, like I say all the time, make the excitement of the result louder than the fear of the process. Sometimes that's difficult, but that's what we should all be aiming for this year. So I hope that's, you know, all right, it's kind of, you know, giving you a few things to think about. It is a bit of a hippie kind of book, isn't it, to begin with? I'm gonna go through. That's chapter 1 that we read there. I'll have a look at like the next couple of chapters, see if there's one that's slightly less hippie based. But I think it is. It seems like it's getting better. I think it just opens a little bit, like, woo, come on, just love everyone and pray, and it's all gonna be fine. And it's all well and good, but I think you've got to also marry that up with some practical steps as well. Universal lesson here, it says, you see the world that you have made, but you do not see yourself as the image maker. Oh, okay. So yeah, you get to make, ultimately, yeah, there are a few steps you can take to remember that you get to make the world that you exist within. So I think you do. I think, honestly, like, whatever happens tonight with Brexit, don't worry about it. That's my moral. That's my message for tonight. Don't freaking worry about that. You're going to be all right. Because you know what? As a community, in this industry, we're going to want to make sure we're all right. Doesn't matter whether we're in or out of Europe. We'll figure it out. It's fine. Don't let that fear fuck you up and go, oh, there's no point getting out of bed tomorrow because we can't decide whether we're in or out. We've got a no deal and the economy's going to go to shit. cross that bridge when we come to it. Just focus on living well for now while you can. Airy fairy, but I like it, says Caroline. I like a bit of airy fairy sometimes. I think there's merit in it, isn't there? Definitely, there's got to be something in it. There's definitely it can't. All this can't be a coincidence. That's all I think sometimes when I'm like, you get a bit spiritual. I'm like, you know what? I actually had this thought in the shower this morning. This is mental. This is absolutely right. I don't even sharing this. I was in the shower this morning and I had my hands out like this. And the water was falling. So for those in the audio experience, I'm like cupping my hands. So the water was just filling my hands up. Sometimes I do this because I like how warm it is in the shower. The shower is sometimes like a slight extension. It's almost like being back in bed again. I come back from the gym and it's so warm. I'll be finished and I'm clean, but I'm just like, I'm just going to stand there for a minute. And I'll cup my hands sometimes, just fill them up with water, and then I'll let it go out my hands and then fill it back up again and just let it go. And I was looking at this water, right, in my hand. And I swear to God, the thought that went through my head was, wow. This water in my hand is more like, is more powerful or like is more incredible than any invention on earth I could ever make. Because this is the thing that keeps us all alive. It's everything. I'm made up of this stuff. I need it to survive. It makes the trees grow that then gives us oxygen. I was like, holy fuck, water. Oh my God. It's like the best I thought no one can invent anything better than water. My iPhone's not better than water. Can't drink that. That's mental, innit? And I was like, and so it's times like that blow my mind. I'm like, this all can't be a coincidence. You're not telling me that a star blew up one day and this all happened by accident. We put trees on here and oxygen and carbon dioxide and water and animals and plants and all this food we can eat and all this stuff that can heal us when we're sick. And I'm sorry, it just can't be a coincidence. So there's got to be something. And it's like I say, I'm not religious. I'm not like, there's an almighty God and he has to be, this particular religion. And, I'm not into any of that. I think it just causes fights and stuff. People can't agree on what they should believe in. But I do believe in, there's got to be a higher energy out there. There has to be something that's having a laugh with us. Something's designed all this and gone, let's put them poor bastards down there and let them get on with it. It's weird, isn't it? Something has got to be in control of this. Well, not in control, but somebody's just got to have created it. I don't know what it is. It just blows my mind. So yeah, and it's healing too. Water is exactly. It can clean your wounds. It is. I just thought that, honestly. I know it's bonkers, but I was like, yeah, water's pretty good, isn't it? Pretty good invention. I'm very grateful for it because there are some people who will have walked 8 miles today for water that will kill them. Genuine, being serious now. So yeah. Be very, very grateful for the water that comes out the tap. Amazing. On that lovely message, I'm going to play you a 60-second clip of an interview that I did with Phil Barantini. I mentioned it before. Check this out. I'll be back in 2 seconds.
If you want to be an actor in the film and TV industry, especially, then you need to know everybody's job.
Yeah.
That's what I've subconsciously learned over the years. You need to know everybody's job. And if you want to direct, then just do it. Just get a camera and go out there and do it.
Give it a go. If it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out.
Exactly. If you want to stay in the industry, then go and work as a runner. Go and instead of working behind a bar, you probably earn more money doing running, and go and work your way up that way. And you probably realise that if your acting's not working, go and do something else.
Yep.
If you're passionate about acting and about being in the TV and film industry, then you should be passionate about everything to do with that industry.
Taste lots of things. Yeah, someone said to me once, I always use this analogy is like, I wouldn't have known that I preferred strawberry ice cream if I'd have stopped tasting ice cream at vanilla. You've got to go out and taste mint and taste chocolate and go, you know what, vanilla was my favourite ice cream yesterday, but now I've tried this out. And for a lot of people, acting, my favourite thing in the world, and they go, shit, I've just directed this thing, and actually, you know what, this is where I should be. Ooh, just a little snippet where I was talking to Phil about tasting different things in the industry. If you want to hear the rest of that interview, it's fascinating. Phil's a guy who had a real battle with alcohol over 10 years after having massive success in his early 20s, bit of fame and fortune, and the adversity that brought in his life. Now he's back smashing it as a director. Go to actsonthis.tv, get your premium membership. It's £10 a month, guys. If you've not got it this year, get one. That money goes to charity as well. Phil got to give a donation. Every guest who comes on gets a donation for charity. So Phil donated his to Alzheimer's UK. That was something that was close to his heart because it was something that his mum suffered with. We're creating a real force for good here, guys. It's not profit for my back pocket. It doesn't pay my mortgage. it goes towards great causes. So, and it also helps you obviously, hear people's experience in the industry, so you don't make those errors, or you learn from them, or you expedite your success. Hear from huge casting directors, actors, writers, producers, directors, and more. Go actsonthis.tv, get your membership. There's going to be some wicked stuff coming. I've got an agent on next week. That'll be another podcast for you on agenting. A very, very good agent who is doing things differently and tearing up the industry. Really interesting one. And I'm also creating a private community inside the website now as well. So it's not part of the Facebook group like we've got here. It's going to be completely separate. You have to have a membership to access it. There's going to be daily challenges in there. I'm going to be holding people accountable. We're going to be working towards things ourselves, sharing information I don't share anywhere else. So that's going to be going on inside the website as well. That will launch at the end of this month in about 2 weeks' time. I'm just finalising all that sort of stuff. And I'm also going to have a special offer for those people who do have a premium membership. I'm teasing this now, actually. You guys get to hear this first. Basically, I'm going to launch a scheme where you get if you're a premium member, you will get a unique promotional link. You can share, don't spam. We're not spamming people, we're not into that. Share your unique link with friends of yours who are in the industry. If they sign up for a membership on Acts on This, you get 25% of the revenue from their membership forever. So if they sign up for a monthly membership, you get 25% every single month. If you sign up for a yearly membership, they sign up for a yearly membership, you get 25% of their yearly membership every single year. For as long as they're a member, as long as it renews, you'll get that payout again. So ultimately, if you bring 4 people to the party, you get your membership for free. That's it. So all you'd have to do is introduce 4 people. As long as they're paying their memberships, you're going to get 25%. 25% times 4 is 100%. Your membership will be free. Going to be doing that soon as well. I just want to grow this community to be the biggest, most positive acting community on the planet. And the more members, the more revenue it generates, the more good we can do, the more charities we can support, the bigger the donations can get. We can do in-person stuff. We could even, depending on the revenue that was brought around by it, we could even start creating shit. We start making films and stuff and going, right, come on, let's get together and actually make some stuff happen. So I just really want to grow it beyond anything that I've done before business-wise this year. So please get on board, get your membership if you've not got one already, support the party. And I swear, the information you're going to get on there, if you act on it, that's the whole point of it, you cannot help but get further in your career. You just can't. I act on it and it works. So going to love you and leave you on that. I'm just going to check the comments here before I go. Make sure everybody's good. Looks like we all are. Thank you, Caroline. Take care of yourself. Have a good week yourself as well. Cheers for showing up tonight, guys. Appreciate that. I know it's Tuesday night. And it's like this whole Brexit thing is going on, so I thought people will probably be glued to the telly. So appreciate you spending this time with me. If you're listening on the audio experience, wherever you are, whatever day it is, please screenshot your screen right now. I want to see, and I want you to share it on social media. Tweet me with it at Ross A. Grant, at Act On This TV. Screenshot it. Let me know what episode you listen to. Let me know what you've found. Let me know what you think of this book for a start. I say, no, it's a bit hippie, but let me know what you think of that. I would love to say thank you. So if you include me in your tweet, I can obviously do that. I'm just lining up this video to end, guys. That's why I look like those watching on camera, like I'm trying to figure something out on my laptop. Facebook need a more elegant way of ending live broadcasts when you're doing them from your desktop. I've sorted it. Thank you for being here. Really appreciate you. If I can do anything for you, do let me know. Go listen to that podcast with Phil. Seriously, it's good. If you've not got a membership, go listen to the other ones as well. There's some cracking stuff on there. And I will catch up with you next Monday. We'll be back to Monday nights. I've got nothing going on next Monday. It should be fine. Until then, have an amazing week. Lots of love to you all. Bye for now.